Hey, good morning, friends. It's Joe. Welcome to my scripture reflection for Sunday, January the 26th. Today is the last Sunday of January. Can you believe that this month has gone by so fast? We often talk about how fast time goes. I think we talk about it maybe too much. But I have been thinking recently that we need to think more about what we see and hear as time goes by. What we see and hear that may seem insignificant, but it's really not. Something to consider as we launch into today's gospel. As always, I ask you to send good energy, prayers, and love to all those in need. How important it is every day to recognize those in need and that what we can do with prayer and positive thoughts and energy really makes a difference. I'll ask you now to quiet your minds and hearts as we prepare to hear today's gospel, which is from St. Luke, chapter 4, verses 14 to 21. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news of him spread throughout the whole region. He taught in their synagogues and was praised by all. He came to Nazareth, where he had grown up, and went according to his custom into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. He stood up and read, and was handed a scroll of the prophet Isaiah. He unrolled the scroll and found the passage where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of the sight to the blind, and let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord." Rolling up the scroll, he handed it back to the attendant and sat down. And the eyes of all in the synagogue looked intently at him. He said to them, "Today, this scripture passage is fulfilled in your hearing." I find it sometimes fascinating connection of the Old Testament to the New Testament. Yeah, I guess I find some things fascinating that maybe aren't real fascinating. But in today's gospel, we hear Jesus directly quoting the prophet Isaiah. Prophet Isaiah came thousands of years before he did. But he's quoting him because all of this was a foretelling of his coming and being made human to walk amongst us. And yes, there is much out there to reveal that God became human to understand the human condition, to understand what we go through, but also to recognize the God in the humanness of all of us. God in the humanness of all of us. My friends, as we heard this gospel, we heard Jesus quote the part of Isaiah that clearly states all that we see Jesus in the needs of others, the oppressed, those who are in need, those who need to have their sight restored, those who are imprisoned in some way, shape, or form, all of those unfortunate ones. And it's what we see and hear in our daily life that reveals that to us and reveals Jesus to us. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First and foremost, I think we should all take a step back. So let's take a step back with me. For we are different in the way that we see Jesus in the beauty of the earth. Yes, the beauty of what we see, whether we see it in the eyes of a child, whether we see Jesus in the eyes of that child, whether we see Jesus in the ocean and the magnificence of the ocean, well, whether we see Jesus in a beautiful tree that birds are dwelling in, whether we see Jesus in the beautiful countryside, those things must come first to establish a good foundation. As he walked all over the earth, we need to see and individually see where he appears to us in the most beautiful places. And I implore you to start there. And that's where it's different for each one of us. I may see him in the eyes of a beautiful dog. You may see him in the eyes of a beautiful cat. Or I may see him in the ocean. You may see him in the mountains. and live with that and appreciate that and soak that in. And then and only then can we start to notice Jesus in what we see and hear in those challenging situations. And what are we to do there? Well, that's where we need to put it all together and respond. Respond as best as we can. At least understand. Compassion starts with understanding. Compassion and love and respect start with understanding and trying to put ourselves in the position of those who are challenged. But we can only do it when we have a strong foundation. We can only do it when we are open then to hearing and seeing what goes on in our world. And what is put before us is no accident. It's put before us by Jesus to recognize him and then to respond to him. And how are we to respond? As I said in my intro, sometimes we make this a little bit more difficult than it really is. Sitting for those 20 minutes a day, praying for those in need, whether it's the LA wildfires, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's animals in slaughterhouses, whatever it is that moves you, that you see and hear, that's where Jesus is, and that's where we respond, and that's how we respond, with sending our positive prayers and energy. Where is your foundation? Start there, please, today. Recognize it. Find pictures. See Jesus in those beautiful places that exist. Establish that foundation and then open your eyes and your ears to see in those challenging times where he is calling you, and then respond. Well, my friends, that's my message for you on this Sunday. As always, I hope it was helpful for you. You could take it into your day and into your week. I always welcome your comments and your thoughts, and I always, always appreciate you being here with me. I look forward to seeing you back here on Tuesday for an animal spirituality video. Until then, I wish you all a blessed Sunday, and I will see you soon. Take care.